Okay, so I am going to go through what the um, reporting would look like for the current stuff that's happening between February and the end of March. So in the last meeting, we went over the kind of the back reporting with the financial report, and then gathering that outreach information that happened or that outreach data that happened between November 1st and January 31st. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. I believe I have sent out the Google links. Let's see here if I can find it and pull it up. The links to the Google Drive. So you should be able to see. Oh my goodness, my screen's doing weird stuff. All right, here we go. You should have access to the guidance and training folder, the materials folder, and the reporting folder. So I've briefly gone over the guidance, training, and materials in previous meetings or in the kickoff. But so today we're going to focus on the reporting. So this folder will be your best friend. We also have a copy of the financial report tracking. If you received an email, we also attached it to the email with the MOU and the outreach reporting spreadsheet. But if you need another copy or anything, please feel free to download it here. Please don't fill it out in the Google. Please don't fill it out in here as everybody has access to it. So if you need a copy of it, please go ahead and go to File and let's see here. I think it's Make a Copy or Save As, and then you should be able to download it to your computer and be able to fill it out that way. All right, so getting into the meat and potatoes of things, we also have a part one
explanation on Google because Google is a second language for me.
Okay.
I've been using the Microsoft stuff for so long. I appreciate anything you add there will be great for me.
Yeah, for sure. So as far as the financial report tracking, you should have a copy of that in your inbox. I sent that, or I don't know if I sent it to you because it came with the MOU. So I'm going to write myself a note to, I can't write and talk at the same time because I'll write what I'm talking about and not what I'm thinking about. Okay.
Okay, take your time. No sweat.
Okay, I'll send you, I will email you the financial report and the other outreach report tracking that we went over last week. So you have that. So George, you won't need to worry about this one.
Okay.
The financial report tracking in the Google Drives. However, you will have to worry about these part 1 and part 2 outreach reports. These are going to look very similar to what we saw last week with the past outreach reporting. So for the part 1, this is going to be the general outreach. Opens up to an instructions. It provides some information about the activity report for tab 2, which is down here. For this, this is going to be different than the past reporting. There should only be one activity described per row. So let's go over here and take a look. So we've got, please input your organization name before you input your activity information, just so we know who's reporting what. You'll have an activity date. So for example, you hosted a training that included conversations or training on COVID-19 safety, washing hands, wearing masks, things like that. And let's say you had that yesterday on the 15th. So you'll put the activity date there. If there's an end date, for example, if there's a few different activity types, I know I'm going a little bit ahead, but if you happen to have a range of dates that you're having an event or something like that, that's where you can put that. But for activity types, we have a few different kinds. We have booth and tabling at specific locations, a training event, an event or meeting, or community canvassing. For those folks who maybe are having one-on-one interactions with individuals coming to your office, or just passing, and just happen to, have a conversation with somebody, you can label that as an event or meeting. So
Very quick question on the
Yeah.
one-on-ones. What do we require to show as evidence, for example, of those one-on-one meetings? A lot of people don't want their name distributed on
Oh,
general
yeah.
reports.
No, we don't require, we don't need, the person's name or phone number or address or anything like that. We'll just go based off the number. If you talk to 5 people that day, then there's a spot that I'll show in just
Okay.
a couple minutes that has, the number of folks you interacted with. So
Okay, perfect.
yeah, we don't need any personal information about the clients you're serving or the folks that you're talking to. So we're just kind of looking at just general high level numbers and whatnot. So over here, we've got target audience with another little drop down. So we've got general public, worker, employer. One thing that was brought up in previous meetings is that this, in order to, do the training and, have these meaningful interactions, you can also do this within your workplace and provide training and whatnot. So really target audience is, general public, worker, or employer. I know some folks might be working directly with some employers regarding, worker safety and worker rights and things like that. So this is a spot to include that there. Scrolling over, I know this spreadsheet's going to look kind of big and scary, but hopefully it's a little kind of self-explanatory, and it's just laid out kind of funky. So area covered in here, it also provides a little bit of information about if the activity was held digitally. So if you had like a Zoom town hall or something like that, that's where you can put that there, or you went live on Facebook, something like that. You can put digital. For other things like community canvassing, like flyering, that should take place at a zip code level. Community canvassing should not be used with the address area covered. I have used the address option before for like specific events, such as tabling at a specific event where folks came to there, and it was really targeted for that neighborhood or community. So you can put the address there. If it's canvassing or kind of an overall larger type of outreach where a lot of folks are coming from a lot of different areas, you can go ahead and use the zip code option here, and you can separate the zip codes by semicolons. Any questions so far?
What if you're doing like some one-on-ones, and then you add some digital, and then you go and do some face-to-face the same day? There isn't an option for both, right?
No,
That's most.
The option would be to create some more. So, your organization.
I'll do another line. Okay,
Yeah.
so some are digital that day and same date, and then some are.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say, if you've got, multiple things going on one day, just go ahead and make a new line so it can be captured accordingly. Let's see here. Great question. Thank you. Let's see here. Oops, why is that going the opposite way? Okay, so as previously stated, the number of people interacted with would go here. This would be required for all activities. And we also have a spot for number of materials distributed. So these numbers can look differently. I know I've talked with one individual, but then I've given them 50 materials so they could, have brochures or whatever sitting at their office. And so I want to be able to capture that as well. So that's why there are total number of people interacted with and number of materials distributed. Okay. Languages covered. You may list multiple languages separated by commas. Only languages listed in the field descriptions tab of this document will be recognized by the system. So you won't have to worry about this too much because I'll be double checking before uploading the report to where we have to. So, but if you're interested, there is a field descriptions tab down here. And this has more explanations about each column. And this also, it's a scroll to the right thing, but there's a lot of information here. So if you have, any questions of, oh, I can't remember what goes in here, you can utilize this tab to look that up. And then there's also a list of the languages that the system recognizes. But I think for our purposes, the majority, it has a lot of languages, and I don't think we should run into an issue of seeing a language being utilized that's not in the system. But if for some reason you think that the language that you're that the materials are in or that you were using is not in there, you can go ahead and put them in the other language tab. Okay. So also for each activity, we have the topics covered. So safety, these are also little drop down boxes. So you don't have to type a whole lot, which is nice. So you can pick yes or no throughout these topics covered for each event. Since, maybe, I know Georgie, you're talking about, talking to different people on different days, maybe you talk to one person about safety COVID protocols, but maybe the second one you only talk to the vaccine. Whoops, that should say yes. But anyway, hopefully you get what I mean. But COVID-19 safety protocols are things like masking, social distancing, washing hands frequently, hand sanitizing, things like that. COVID-19 vaccine could be topics including where to get a COVID-19 vaccine in the community, or general safety, or just information about the vaccine. Other topics can include know your rights / worker rights. So if folks are working with employers or employees, also safer at work website. If you would like that website, please let me know and I can get that for you. And then social programs and resources. So if you, have the emergency rental assistance program, if you're promoting that to your clients, or local food banks, food shelter, things like that for folks who have been impacted by COVID, whether it's quarantine, isolation, things like that. And again, all of these are yes or no drop down boxes. So I would encourage to, mark yes or no for each item here. But you don't feel like you have to hit all of them every single interaction, right? So, so that's totally fine too.
So this could be, if you do appointments all day, like single appointments for an hour, you could have 8 of these for one day because you didn't do everything exactly the same, or, I mean, how do you want to?
Yeah, I would say if everything's exactly the same and you know that your staff is covering COVID-19 protocols, where to get a vaccine or, providing those PPE type things, if they're exactly the same, I would just do it under one activity here. For the number of total people interacted with, I'd put, 8.
Oh,
or
there you
something
go.
like that. So
Okay.
I would say if you're having multiple activity types in one day, that's where I would do the second one. So if you did a training one day, but also did a booth and tabling, those activities look a little different. So I would do one line for training and one line for tabling. So safe to say one line per activity type per day. Okay. All right, topics covered. We also have an option for questions that were asked by community members, whether they, this is not required, but if one of your community members asked a great question that you think you'd like to share or maybe didn't know the answer to, go ahead and put that here. I'll take a look at it and see if it's something I can help with or pass it along to someone who can assist, or just, maybe it's just good knowledge to know or something like that. We also have additional notes or comments. So this is also not a required field. Feel free to skip if you don't have anything to put. Some organizations might be working with an employer doing specific outreach. So for example, a particular employer, enter the company employer name here if you feel comfortable. Some organizations are helping folks with vaccine support. So this can also be recorded if a number of vaccine appointments facilitated. So the number of individuals you assisted where the interaction resulted in a confirmed appointment, whether they signed up, at your office, or you were able to help sign them up via MyTurn, the government website, or through another local clinic there. Also, we can record the number of referrals to vaccine appointment platforms or providers. So like I said, mentioning like, hey, go to the MyTurn website and you'll be able to sign up there. Again, we do not need names or phone numbers or addresses or any identifying information of the individuals you're speaking to. So that will be completely anonymous for us. So we don't need, we also don't need like confirmation. Like you don't need to call them after you refer them and say like, hey, did you sign up? Did you get your vaccine? We don't need that. So that's not something that if you're not already doing, you do not need to start. So we're just looking for the referrals, and if they happen to make an appointment at your office or at your event, great, but no follow-up is needed on our end. We also have some demographic data. Again, it may be a little bit difficult to a little sensitive to identify someone without necessarily asking them. So I would say if you're not 100% comfortable asking, we have a section over here that says how accurate is the demographic data. And we've got exact numbers, close approximates, rough estimates, or unable to estimate. So if you know that you're fairly comfortable with the clients that you work with, that they're a specific demographic group, then go ahead and input that information. But if you're not comfortable, feel free to not feel free to use that unable to estimate drop down in this section. Okay. And then the last column here is notes and comments about demographic data. So if there's anything you'd like to share specifically about the demographic data recorded, you can share that here. So like I mentioned before, this is very similar to the past outreach report. A couple things that are different is, again, if you're doing multiple activities on on the same day, please create another line for the other activity type. This is also due weekly, which means that each Monday I will be compiling the data and uploading it to our grantors. So one way to be able to kind of capture this and is you can use this in real time. That's why we're doing a Google document. So all of the other organizations are going to have access to this, and they're also going to be receiving the same training. So for here, you might have United Way working here, and then you might also have Shasta Beloved Community, here, and they're also you're also going to be able to kind of see what other folks are doing, but really this is going to be a not mutual document. What am I saying? A community document where we'll be able to capture data in real time and be able to send it over to our grantors quickly.
Just a quick question on this. So somebody could come in and change by accident, even they could.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on things. And Google Sheets does have an option to seed previous versions. So if something happens and it just all disappears, I'll be able to go back and get previous versions. So I'll also be keeping track and pulling information as it's coming in to help limit accidents from happening, because they happen. So I'll be keeping a really close eye on this and checking it multiple times a day, and making sure that we're capturing, as people are capturing or putting in the data, I'm capturing it in a safe way. So
do you recommend we keep a copy of this of our own, so if something happens we can, this is like our paper, we don't have a paper copy, we don't have anything to go back and recreate this.
Right. Yeah. If you would like to keep a copy of the data that you input, I know that's something that I would do. It's not required, but if you're more than welcome to.
And then can we cut and paste off of our blank sheet and just cut and paste it in here?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm understanding this is one master reporting sheet for everyone.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure I was clear on that.
Yes. And one thing I'll also do, because we have so many organizations and I'm required to report this every Monday, every weekly, is after it's been reported and uploaded, I'm going to come through and zero this sheet out. So by the end of the day, each Monday, it'll look like this again. I'm still keeping all of the data. I'm going to have so many spreadsheets and I'm going to continue to record that data and also be able to organize it by organization. So at the end, if you'd like to see, everything that you've done, I'll be able to filter that out and send to you as well. But because we just have so many organizations and we're going to have a lot of activities, after it has all been submitted, I will zero it out. So each week it'll start fresh. But I am capturing all the data and keeping it and saving it.
So
Does that make sense?
If you're catching things up on a Monday, these dates, the activity dates may not be lining up. People aren't putting it in. Some people are going to put it every day. Some are going to put them out at the end of the week. And
yes. Yeah. And that's totally fine too. If it's Tuesday and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to input stuff for last week, definitely don't skip it. Put it in, put the correct activity date, and it will move over. So that's totally fine. We want to be able to capture all of this information and data, even if it's, a little bit late. Go ahead and get it in there when you can. So I understand that weekly reporting and getting everything in is a kind of meticulous. So I definitely understand, things happen, and I've also not been 100% on time with things as well. So, but it's okay. Okay. Let's see here. So this is the part 1 general outreach reporting. We do have a part 2. It's shorter than this, and I'll show you that now. This is this would be the equivalent to the tab 2 on the back outreach reporting. Again, it opens up very similar. It has an instruction page. One-way reporting would be email newsletters, flyer drop-offs. If you're not having a conversation with folks, you're just dropping off a flyer at an organization for them to, hang up or something. Mailers, mass texting, other media appearance, radio or social media posts. These, we definitely want to be able to capture these as well. So we've got your organization name here. The different types here in this drop down. So to be able to fill it out. I know personally, I use the social media post the most. And the date posted, sent / aired. So, if you posted something today on your Facebook about getting vaccinated, you put today's date. I could type it correctly. Oh my goodness. Language is covered. Again, this is very similar to the first part 1 tab, where you can include the outreach, the content that was the language the content was presented in, English, Spanish. Also a drop down for social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, other. So we can put that there. This was on Facebook. The number of followers on the platform. I know that social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the owners of the account can see like the engagements or the impressions. We aren't necessarily looking at those numbers in regards to the social media. We're looking at the total number of followers on your platform. So if you've got, 500 followers on Twitter, that's going to be the number that goes in this section. So I think we've got 1,200 folks on, the United Way Facebook page. I think it's more, but it's an example. And then if you have a link to your social media post, you can put it here. If you're doing something other than a social media post, then you could just ignore the social media platform, number of followers on platform, and the link. You don't need that. Or, well, I guess the link does say email newsletter or radio, other media appearance, if you happen to have one. I know some newsletter platforms have links that you can post, and you can find the newsletter outside of the email. But if it doesn't have that, don't worry about it. Number of recipients, this would be for email newsletters, mass text messages, mailers, and flyer drop-offs only. And the number of click-throughs, again, some newsletter platforms have this option to see how many people clicked on your emails. Zip codes are only going to be recorded for mailers and flyer drop-offs. And you can also separate them by semicolons. And then a description or a brief description of post, message, content, radio, media appearance. It could be as simple as, COVID-19 safety, if you're talking about hand washing, masking, or COVID-19 vaccine scheduling, if you are promoting the My Turn website or another local way to find information out about or getting scheduled for a vaccine appointment. So it doesn't need to be super in depth, but just a kind of brief overview of kind of what the messaging would be. And that's the end of this spreadsheet. So this one is much shorter than the other one. Any questions on this one? There was a problem, of course. Okay. Again, this one is also due weekly, like the other ones, and I'll do the same thing where once it's submitted for that week, I will zero it out. So it'll look like a fresh new spreadsheet by Tuesday morning. And again, I am saving all the information. So if there's corrections or anything that need to be made, or you're curious on what your organization reported last week, things like that, just let me know and I can look that up for you. Okay. So again, these can both be found in, these can both be found in the reporting folder. I'll send this link out again. So you have it. I would maybe bookmark it for the next month and a half and make sure to let me know if you have any questions. Please let me know if you don't have the link or if you're unable to access this folder, and I'll be able to get you access and troubleshoot that for you. Okay. Any other questions regarding the reporting? I'll send out this recording and I'll also type up some written instructions just for a quick reminder and things like that. And also for folks who were unable to join or unable to view the video. But please let me know if you have any questions. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.